Hi, you as well.
How does Sonic's 90% fee return model empower developers, and what kind of monetization opportunities has it unlocked so far?
So 90% fee monetization, what it means is that the fees, the transaction fees that would have gone to validators, instead now go to the developers themselves. So that's a huge unlock in terms of revenue potential for developers building on Sonic. That's not the case for other EVM chains or any other chain really generally. And so what that allows for is it allows developers to cover their costs, give rewards to their communities. It's just extra money in their pocket just from by virtue of usage of their protocol. So one developer yesterday came up to me and said, VM has covered all of their operational expenses since it began. So that's allowed them to now expand their operations and do better things with their protocol, even if they're not getting fees to cover their expenses, for example.
What are some real-world DeFi use cases made possible by Sonic's sub-second functionality and that weren't feasible in other chains?
So, for example, I gave this example on stage as well. I think it's a really good one. So Binance has opened USDC deposits directly from Sonic. So what you can do now is deposit USDC into Binance, and within the same second, because we have a sub-second finality time, you can now utilize that USDC to do other things with. So it increases the velocity of finance without having to wait for extra confirmations like you do on many other chains. And so that enables a bunch of use cases, like there's a lot of DeFi use cases that it enables, but also centralized exchange use cases it enables too.
How does native account abstraction of Sonic simplify onboarding for non-crypto native users?
Native account abstraction will allow for, when it goes live, it'll allow for users to be able to perform, for example, gasless transactions or be able to create accounts without having to manage their seed phrases, which a lot of people lose. And so it allows them to frictionlessly enter the world of Sonic without having the Web3 barriers that are traditionally the case with blockchains. So you'll have a Web2 experience in a Web3 ecosystem using native account abstraction with no need to manage keys or anything like that.
And the last question, can you explain how dynamic fees work and how they give developers more control over their everything?
Yeah, so dynamic fees work in tandem with fee monetization, and it allows developers to choose the fees that their contracts will charge effectively for transactions that are interacting with their contracts. So what will happen is the users will be interacting with a DEX, for example, and so if a DEX wants to subsidize that user's transaction, they can set the gas to 0. And so in tandem with native account abstraction and dynamic fees and fee monetization, they can subsidize transactions and have users have a completely gasless, seed phraseless experience, or they can keep the fees high if they want to generate revenue off of certain interactions. And then with native account abstraction and dynamic fees and fee monetization working together, developers can earn more than they would have earned at a baseline fee level. So you can choose what you want to do and create different experiences for different users and have different revenue potentials as a result of these three technologies working together that are unique to Sonic.